In Europe, France is trying to remake itself as a hub for tech and startups after the election of Emmanuel Macron this past spring. But France is facing challenges as it tries to tap into the global tech boom, regulation, and attitudes towards startup culture, just to name a few. Pascal Cagni is helping to bring change to the country as head of business France. Before that, Cagni was general manager and vice president for Apple Europe, Middle East, and Africa, then founded his own firm, C4 Ventures. Cagni is now with us right here in San Francisco. So you spent the last 2 decades working in London. Obviously, this is before Margaret Vestager and a lot of these new regulatory concerns we're hearing about. How would you say things have changed since you started working at Apple in 2000?
Now, maybe there is figures which summarize the change, right? In 5 years, we moved from less than 10% to up to 50% of the 18 to 25 years old French people, French young adults, willing to join the entrepreneurship revolution, right? The entrepreneur is becoming very much the icon of the modern times. You've got actually last year in France more venture capital which has been put into the country than in any other countries. So the cultural change that we talk about is massive, right? Today, when you are doing one of the grandes écoles in France, half of them wants to basically create their own starter, better to join one of the beautiful large companies we have. So the change is here.
So how would you describe then the impact of increasing regulation and regulatory concerns?
I'm not sure you really can talk about regulations. If anything, we are right now working with the President Macron about reducing this, right? You do appreciate that we have been bringing a lot of flexibility to the work employment laws to allow people to have a lot more predictability about what they are going to deal with in the futures. We've got actually a lower tax across the lines, lower corporate tax, no more wealth tax, and also want figures for the capital gain tax at 30%. That's the plan, that's what's happening. You've got a massive shift also into the political landscape with a lot of newcomers. So I think France in a row, and if there is a decade where you need to bet on France, is the decade ahead of us, right?
What do you think about the actions coming from the European Competition Commissioner and Margaret Vestager herself?
No, they do the jobs. Clearly, we need to create market rules for the place. Europe hasn't been very well known for the ability to offer a frame which is current on objectives. And yes, some of the GAFA has been under scrutiny. It's happening yesterday, today, it will continue. But all in all, you need to appreciate that it's really much a free market with a free flow of goods and people, which allows the people to recreate entrepreneurs, right? In France, you've got an excess of 10,000 startups which has been creating lately. When you look at the fast technology moving companies, France now is all on the place and on the lead. So I think things really change, and you need to acknowledge that in California, which has been the role model for in excess of 2 decades, as you said.
President Macron has said he wants France to become a landscape of unicorns, and right now there's currently only one, BlaBlaCar. How does he intend to birth more unicorns?
In fact, if I may say, there is a few more than that. You can also add Sigfox, you may also add OVH on the server side, and you've got also Criteo, which became one and actually get public on the Nasdaq. So it's true that the unicorn is not yet the
still
magic
a rare
words,
breed, right?
But you got, I wouldn't mistake saying that there is close to 40 across Europe. We actually talk about France, but overall we talk about Europe. We would like to see France as essentially the entry gate to go after this amazing European market. Not mentioning that you've got also a 400 million large Arab world, which is not far away out of the reach of Europe, right? So yes, we're at the start of the journey, but there is always a start. I think everything looks incredibly good. The GDP growth is better. The mindset has changed. We really take benefit of the platform which has been created over the last 10 years here in California. So I'm very optimistic.
So what do you personally hope to accomplish, and what do you bring specifically from your background at a company like Apple, which is clearly a global company with, that has to play to a lot of different markets? How do you use all of that in your new role?
For 1 or 2 decades, I heard a lot about the French bashing, right? So what I want to state, coming in front of you here today and in the Valley for a week, right, going also at CS in Las Vegas, is to explain that France means business, that the word entrepreneur has actually mean creating France, and do have taken all of these sense at the minute I'm talking about. So I think it's about France means business. France is actually very much welcoming foreign investments and talent. And the proof is that if you go on Eureka Park, which is the place where you got a startup, we've got the largest contingent at the CES in Las Vegas of a company. That has been the case for 3 or 4 years in a row. We have got in excess of 50% more companies. So it's really about carrying the message that the things are changing, and the figures are here to demonstrate it.